It is 9:47 in the evening. The living room is quiet. You're sitting on the couch, maybe watching TV, maybe scrolling your phone. You reach over, pat the cushion next to you, and call your dog's name just like you have done 100 times before. And your dog trots over. Happy. Tail wagging. They stop right at the edge of the couch, look up at you, and just stand there. That little hesitation. That pause. Like something invisible is holding them back. You laugh it off. You reach down and give them a boost. They curl up next to you like nothing happened. But you felt it. That cold little feeling in your chest. Because your dog didn't used to do that. I know exactly what that moment feels like. And I know the thought that follows it, the thought you don't want to say out loud. Is my dog getting old? Is something wrong? Am I missing something? Here is the hard truth. That hesitation is almost never about age. That pause, that tiny moment of calculation before a jump, is your dog's body quietly telling you it hurts? And if you are reaching for an anti-inflammatory prescription as your first move, I need you to stop and watch this entire video first. Because that pill is not fixing anything. It is turning the volume down on the alarm while the fire keeps burning. What if I told you that 3 specific natural ingredients, used together in the right sequence, can reduce your dog's joint inflammation by up to 60% in as little as 3 weeks? No prescription required. No vet bill for a bottle of pills that runs out in a month. Hi everyone. I'm Dr. Nathan Reed, your neighborhood veterinarian. I've been practicing integrative and holistic veterinary medicine for over 15 years, and joint pain in dogs is one of the things I am most passionate about. Because it is one of the most mismanaged conditions in conventional pet care. Today we are doing a complete joint health masterclass. I'm going to walk you through the biology of what is actually happening inside your dog's body when they hesitate before that jump. I'm going to expose the silent ingredient in their daily food bowl that is making the inflammation worse every single day. I'm going to give you my joint bowl protocol. A simple, practical system using ingredients from your grocery store. I'm going to show you what to do outside the bowl to speed up their recovery. And finally, in Chapter 5, I'm going to reveal the one ingredient that 9 out of 10 dog owners already have sitting in their refrigerator right now and have absolutely no idea it could be rebuilding their dog's joints from the inside out. That one stays under wraps until the very end, so make sure you watch all the way through. And before we dive in, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now. Every week I share honest, science-backed, natural veterinary advice to help your dog live longer, feel better, and thrive on a budget. We are a community of pet parents who refuse to accept that expensive pharmaceuticals are the only option. Welcome to the family. Let's start with what is actually going on inside that joint. A healthy dog joint is an engineering marvel. You have 2 bones meeting at a point of movement. Between them sits a layer of cartilage, a soft, rubbery cushion that absorbs impact every single time your dog walks, runs, or jumps. Surrounding that cartilage is a sealed capsule filled with something called synovial fluid. Think of synovial fluid like the oil in a car engine. It lubricates every surface, feeds the cartilage with nutrients, and keeps the whole system moving smooth and silent. Now here is where the problem begins. Cartilage has no direct blood supply. It cannot heal itself the way a cut on your skin can. The only way it gets nutrients is by absorbing them from the synovial fluid surrounding it. When your dog's body enters a state of chronic inflammation, and I will explain exactly why that happens in Chapter 2, that synovial fluid changes. It becomes thinner. Less nourishing. The cartilage starts to dry out. It begins to crack and thin at the edges. The bones start getting closer together. Every time your dog lands after a jump, instead of a cushioned, painless landing, there is friction. There is pressure. There is a sharp signal traveling up through their nervous system that their brain registers as pain. And here is the cruel part of this biology. The body's response to that pain signal is to send inflammatory chemicals to the joint to try to protect it. But those inflammatory chemicals make the joint more swollen and stiff, which makes the movement more painful, which sends more pain signals, which triggers more inflammation. It is a vicious loop. And it does not stop on its own. I had a patient named Bella. 7-year-old border collie. Her owner, Sarah, brought her in saying, "She just seems to be slowing down. She's not as excited to go outside." I thought maybe she was bored. When I examined Bella and watched her walk, I saw it immediately, a slight hesitation before she stepped off the exam table. A subtle stiffening in her hips. Sarah had been watching this develop for probably 8 months and had interpreted every sign as a personality change. Dogs are masters at hiding pain. They do not complain the way we do. By the time the hesitation before a jump is visible to you, that joint has often been inflamed for a very long time. This is why catching the signal early matters so much. And it is also why what you put in their bowl every single day is not a small thing. It is everything. Which brings us to Chapter 2, and the ingredient that is probably making your dog's joints worse right now. I want you to go look at the back of your dog's food bag. Pick it up. Flip it over. Look at the first 5 ingredients. If you see corn, wheat, soy, chicken byproduct meal, or any form of vegetable oil listed in the first 5, your dog is eating a pro-inflammatory diet. Every single day. Here is the science. The body manages inflammation through 2 families of fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation. And omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce it. In a natural, ancestral diet, dogs consumed these 2 in a rough balance, somewhere around a 2-to-1 ratio. In most commercial dry kibble today, that ratio is anywhere from 15-to-1 to as high as 40-to-1 in favor of omega-6. Your dog's body is swimming in pro-inflammatory fuel every time they eat. And it gets worse. Even the kibbles that advertise omega-3 fatty acids on the label are often lying to you, not intentionally, but practically. Omega-3 fatty acids are incredibly fragile. They oxidize and go rancid when exposed to air, heat, and light. The moment that bag is cut open and sits in your pantry, the omega-3s that were listed on that label begin to die. By the time your dog is eating from the middle of the bag, those beneficial fats are largely gone. You are feeding them the label, not the nutrition. I had a patient named Max, 9-year-old Labrador. He had been on what his owner considered a premium, expensive grain-free kibble for 3 years. When Max started slowing down on his walks and refusing to jump into the back of their SUV, his owner, David, was baffled. He was spending top dollar. What he didn't know was that grain-free kibble often replaces grains with starchy legumes, lentils, peas, chickpeas, which are even higher in inflammatory omega-6 oils. Max wasn't getting old. Max was inflamed. We changed his bowl. Within a month, David sent me a video of Max jumping into that SUV on his own. The inflammation starts in the gut and shows up in the joint. And fixing it starts with what goes in the bowl. So let's build the bowl. This is Chapter 3, and this is where I hand you the practical tools. I call this the Joint Bowl Protocol. It is a 3-part daily system that you can start tonight. It does not replace your dog's kibble. It upgrades it. Part 1 is your omega-3 source. Every single day, you need to add a fresh, active omega-3 to your dog's food. My top recommendation is 100% pure wild-caught salmon oil kept in an airtight pump bottle in your refrigerator after opening. 2 to 3 pumps over their kibble for a medium-sized dog, that's roughly 30 to 50 pounds. For a small dog under 20 pounds, 1 pump. For a large dog over 60 pounds, 4 to 5 pumps. The refrigerator is essential. Omega-3 oils degrade in heat and light. Keep it cold and it stays potent. If you prefer a whole food option, go to the grocery store and buy canned sardines packed in water with 0 added salt. 1 sardine for a small dog, 2 to 3 for a large dog, mixed right into their kibble, 2 to 3 times a week. Dogs go absolutely crazy for it, and it is one of the most concentrated sources of anti-inflammatory omega-3s on the planet. Vet warning here. Do not add omega-3 in large amounts overnight. Start with half the dose for the first week. Too much oil introduced too fast will give your dog diarrhea. Slow and steady. Part 2 of the joint bowl protocol is curcumin activation. Turmeric root contains a compound called curcumin, and curcumin has been shown in multiple peer-reviewed veterinary studies to reduce joint inflammation in dogs comparably to certain non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, without the side effects of long-term NSAID use. But here is the catch that most people miss. Curcumin is fat-soluble and has very low bioavailability on its own. Your dog's body can barely absorb it unless you combine it with two things, fat and black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2000%. So here is what you do. Take a tiny pinch of pure ground turmeric, not a curry blend, pure turmeric, and a tiny pinch of black pepper. Mix them into a small scoop of that salmon oil or coconut oil and stir that paste right into their bowl. For a medium-sized dog, you are using literally 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric and the tiniest dusting of black pepper. This is not a big dollop. It is a precise, therapeutic pinch. Do this once a day. Part 3 is collagen hydration. And this is the one that people sleep on the most. Remember that synovial fluid, the joint lubricant we talked about? It is made primarily of collagen and water. When a dog eats nothing but dry processed kibble, they are chronically mildly dehydrated. That synovial fluid thickens. It becomes less effective. The cartilage starves. The solution is homemade bone broth. Take chicken or beef bones, raw or leftover from cooking, and put them in a slow cooker with plain filtered water. No onions. No garlic. No seasoning whatsoever. Both onions and garlic are toxic to dogs and will cause red blood cell damage. Cook on low for 12 to 24 hours. Let it cool. Strain out the bones. What you have is liquid gold. Collagen-rich, glycine-rich, gelatin-rich broth that goes directly to work rebuilding your dog's joint tissue. Pour a quarter cup over their kibble each meal and let it soak in for 5 minutes before serving. Almost universally seasoned with onion, garlic, and heavy sodium. None of those belong in your dog's bowl. And while you are reading labels, any yogurt, kefir, or flavored supplement you add to this bowl must be checked for xylitol, which manufacturers are now increasingly labeling as birch sugar. Xylitol is a sugar-free sweetener that is completely fatal to dogs. Even a microscopic amount causes catastrophic liver failure. Read every label. Every single time. Now. The joint bowl protocol is powerful. But there is one question I want you to sit with as we move into Chapter 4. What if the bowl alone isn't enough? Because for some dogs, especially those who have been hesitating for a while, the inflammation has progressed beyond what nutrition alone can reverse quickly. The joint needs more than better fuel. It needs rehabilitation. And that is something you can absolutely do at home. Chapter 4 is about what happens outside the bowl. The number one mistake I see pet parents make when their dog starts showing joint pain is this: they restrict all movement to protect the joint. I understand the instinct. Your dog is in pain, so you don't want to make it worse. But here is the counterintuitive veterinary reality. Controlled, consistent movement is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory tools available. Movement pumps synovial fluid through the joint. It circulates the nutrients the cartilage needs to survive. A dog that stops moving, a dog that spends all day lying on a hard floor or lounging on a soft couch without any structured activity, is a dog whose joint fluid stagnates, whose cartilage gets less and less nourishment, and whose supporting muscles slowly atrophy. Muscle loss around the joint removes the natural shock absorption, which puts even more pressure on the cartilage. What works is not long, exhausting hikes. What works is short, consistent daily walks on flat surfaces. 15 to 20 minutes, twice a day, on leash so you can control their pace. No sprinting. No jumping over obstacles. Just steady, moderate movement that keeps the joint fluid circulating. I also want you to consider your home environment. A dog with joint pain should not be jumping on and off furniture multiple times a day. The landing impact is significant. Go to any hardware store and buy a foam camping mat or a ramp kit. You can even stack a few firm pillows as a makeshift stair. The goal is to eliminate high-impact repetitive jumping while you are rebuilding the joint from the inside. The second tool outside the bowl is targeted muscle massage. The muscles that surround the hip and shoulder joints, the gluteal group and the supraspinatus, carry enormous load. When they are tight and knotted from compensating for a painful joint, they pull the joint out of its ideal alignment, creating even more friction. You can release this tension at home. Using the flat pad of your thumb, apply firm, slow, circular pressure directly to the large muscle mass on the side of your dog's hip, that round, fleshy area between the tail and the knee. Do this for 2 minutes on each side before your morning walk. You will feel the muscles soften under your hands. Your dog will often lean into the pressure and let out a long sigh of relief. That sigh is their body saying thank you. I had a patient named Rocky. 11-year-old golden retriever. His owner, Patricia, had already spent over $1,000 on joint supplements from the vet before she came to see me. Rocky hadn't slept in his owner's bed in 4 months because he couldn't get up there anymore. We implemented the joint bowl protocol, twice daily 15-minute walks, and taught Patricia the hip muscle massage technique. 6 weeks later, she sent me a photo of Rocky asleep on the bed. She was crying when she wrote the caption. Sighs. Those are the moments that remind me why I became a vet. But I told you at the beginning there was still one piece of the puzzle most veterinarians completely overlook. And we have arrived at it. Chapter 5. The gut-joint connection. Here is a biological truth that conventional veterinary medicine is only beginning to fully embrace. Approximately 70 to 80% of your dog's entire immune system lives in their gut. Not in their bloodstream. Not in their lymph nodes. In their gastrointestinal tract, in the form of a living ecosystem of bacteria called the microbiome. When the gut microbiome is healthy and diverse, those good bacteria produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids. These compounds actively regulate the body's inflammatory response. They are essentially your dog's internal inflammation thermostat, keeping the immune system calibrated so it doesn't overreact. Now, here is the problem. Commercial dry kibble is processed at extremely high temperatures to achieve an 18-month shelf life. That heat kills the living bacteria in the food, both bad and good. A dog raised on a diet of sterile, heat-processed kibble has a depleted, weakened gut microbiome. And without that internal thermostat, the immune system starts overreacting to completely normal stimuli. It produces inflammatory chemicals when it shouldn't. Those chemicals circulate through the bloodstream and settle into the most vulnerable points in the body, including the joints. This means that a dog with chronic joint inflammation very often also has a compromised gut. And it means that healing the gut is one of the most important and most overlooked steps in addressing joint pain. I had a patient named Tucker. 8-year-old beagle. His owner, James, had tried every glucosamine supplement on the market. Tucker was still struggling. When I examined Tucker's history, I noticed he also had recurring ear infections and chronically itchy paws. Classic signs of a gut microbiome out of balance. We added a probiotic to Tucker's joint bowl protocol. 4 weeks later, the ear infections cleared. The paw licking reduced significantly. And Tucker's hesitation before the couch gone. James called me almost laughing, saying he had to put a blanket on the couch because Tucker kept jumping up and rearranging the pillows. The ingredient that 9 out of 10 dog owners already have in their refrigerator? Plain, unsweetened milk kefir. Kefir is a fermented dairy drink loaded with millions of live probiotic cultures. 1 tablespoon mixed into a medium dog's meal every evening is enough to begin repopulating the gut microbiome with healthy, inflammation-regulating bacteria. And my friends, I have to give you the vet warning one more time, because this one is a matter of life and death. When you go to the grocery store to buy kefir or plain yogurt for your dog, you must read the back of the label before it goes in your cart. You are looking for one word, xylitol. Or its newer alias, birch sugar. Many diet and sugar-free dairy products use xylitol as a sweetener. Even a single small dose can cause acute liver failure in a dog. Buy only 100% plain, unsweetened, unflavored kefir. Full stop. If your dog is lactose intolerant, skip the dairy entirely. Purchase a high-quality canine-specific probiotic powder from your veterinarian or a reputable pet store and sprinkle 1 scoop over their kibble each evening. It accomplishes the same goal without the dairy. My friends, let's take a step back and look at what you have built today. We started with a dog frozen at the edge of a couch. A dog whose owner is fighting that cold feeling in their chest, wondering what is wrong and what they missed. Now look at what you have built. You understand that the hesitation is a biological pain signal, not aging, not laziness. You know that the dry kibble your dog eats every day is likely flooding their body with pro-inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids. You have the joint bowl protocol, salmon oil or sardines to fight inflammation, curcumin activated with black pepper and fat to reduce it at the cellular level, and homemade bone broth to rebuild the synovial fluid that cushions every step. You have the tools to rehabilitate their muscles and their movement outside the bowl. And you now understand the gut-joint connection, the missing link that no supplement aisle can fix without addressing the microbiome first. That is an enormous amount of knowledge. And I know it can feel overwhelming to look at this list and think, where do I even start? So here is my challenge to you. Pick just one thing. Just one. Tonight, when you prepare your dog's bowl, pour a splash of warm water over the kibble. Tomorrow, pick up a can of sardines at the grocery store. The week after, find plain kefir. Start small. Stay consistent. The body changes slowly, and every small act of intention compounds into a transformation you will see with your own eyes. If this masterclass gave you hope today, if it lit something up in you that says, I can actually do something about this, I need you to hit that like button right now. It tells the algorithm that honest, practical, holistic veterinary content like this deserves to reach more pet families. It is the single biggest favor you can do for this channel. And leave me a comment below. I want to know, is your dog dealing with joint stiffness, or are you watching them and wondering if this is the beginning? Drop it in the comments. Are you fighting joint pain or gut issues right now? Tell me what you are seeing, and let our community support you. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already. Every single week we go deep on your dog's health, nutrition, behavior, natural remedies. All of it honest, all of it grounded in real veterinary science. Give your sweet dog a gentle scratch behind the ears from Dr. Nathan tonight. They worked hard just getting through the day on those joints. They deserve it.